Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna hit the intro. Welcome to Mindful Minutes with Musicians, the show where we aspire to inspire musicians and artists talking about mindfulness and what brings us through our practice to achieve greater goals. All right. So today, a big welcome to today's guest, Chris Andre Smith, aka Kid Cold, a
Yes,
Toronto
sir.
based artist rapper who has brought inspiration through the years. And I'm saying that because he's inspired me. He's been in the game for a while now and dropped an awesome album, the Black Gang EP,
Yeah.
which you should definitely pick up. And he's graced us with some of the smoothest rhymes and samples. He's been featured on Hip Hop Canada, Toronto Life, Mob Toronto, and you can find his creations on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify. You can check out his Instagram and his social media. You can just type in Kid Cold Toronto and you can find it all. Here he is with us. With no further ado, Kid Cold.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me here, man. It's been a while, man. I'm just happy to be here so we can have this discussion.
Oh man, thank you so much for being here and joining me and talking about mindfulness and kind of being open with what you've been up to and that kind of stuff. So
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure, man. I think it's a topic that a lot of people be interested in because, like, the artist's mind it's so complex and it's like a big mystery. You know what I mean? So to hear everybody's take on it is it's just a wonderful thing and it's like interesting. I like some of the questions you're asking me. I would like to ask the other artists like, yo, how
for,
does this and that come about?
for sure, and it's finding out process for
Hmm.
like how to process and how to get through and how to get to those points where you're able to um you know kind of
Make
focus
the
and
message.
yeah. So my first quite I first like how are you? And like it's kind of been very wild and unpredictable times lately. So how have you
Man,
been getting through and how like what you've been doing?
man, I've been good, man. I think like with the media and everything, you gotta take everything with a balance. You can't just like it's like your diet. You just can't be on CNN all day or on Instagram all day. You gotta take some time to just kind of plug out and just kind of be there for you. So I've been
For
keeping
sure.
that in mind. But thankfully my creativity has been up. I've been making some of my best music I think I've made to date during this quarantine. So can't wait to let the world hear it.
That's awesome. How do why do you feel that inspiration or like how does that like you said it's been your best music like how has that been influenced like
Well, I've always like I like to work in a group, but I always felt like I do my best stuff when I'm isolated. So like being in
oh
this quarantine, tunnel vision, you know what I mean? Like yeah, my vibes are kind of down because I'm not around friends or going out as much or even like partying or whatever. Nothing like that. It's just been in the house, but
mhm.
I just had a focus this time around, and then yeah, man, every day it's just two or three beats are getting done, some raps are getting done. So it's been a good time, man.
That's awesome, man. That's it's nice that you found a way to like be creative and get the outlets and stuff like that going and
Oh yeah,
um
definitely.
yeah yeah it's definitely been wild in the news and everything and yeah I guess I'm gonna jump to this question is like what like as far as like practices and like stuff like when you're getting in that state to write music or make music or whatever like is there anything that like you do to prepare for that or is there any like mental things that you do like to get into that or is there like a mental state that you get into or like is it just have you felt that it's just been kind of coming and flowing and yeah
My best I think my best friend in this whole thing has been like my little home studio because I always find like the best way for me to create is when I feel it, I gotta run to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can't let it sit too long. Cause like I just read a book by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's called Big Magic, and she talks about like how inspiration, it'll like prepare itself to you, but if you're not ready for it, it'll go find somebody who's prepared for the inspiration. So it's like I try to keep myself ready at all times. You know what I mean? So it's like she talks about a poet who, like I guess like 100 years ago, used to work in like the fields, and a poem used to come to her, and she said she would have to run to the house, and she could literally feel the poem leaving her body if she didn't write it down in time. And that's like, girl, you feel it. You know, you're an artist. You get what I'm saying too, right?
It's like when it comes, it kind of just flows out, and there's like it's like being prepared just to like when that happens to, you know,
exactly
be able to harness it. And yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, before I used to work out in my house, I used to like have a couple studios I used to work out of, and it would be like, you know, I would have to prepare to go there, because like, you know, I'd be at home and I catch a vibe, and it's like, you know, it goes away. But you know what I mean, in terms of like preparing for like when I go to sessions and whatnot, it's just it depends on the session, it depends what I'm doing, you know what I mean. But I'm really not into like foolishness and a lot of noise, right? Like I'm into like locking in, like the least amount of people in the studio is best for me. Like I'm not about whole entourages, everybody drinking and smoking. Maybe once in a while, cool, but like I rather be the engineer.
Yeah, there's time for the party, and then there's time to focus.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's a pretty good thing. Like it's a pretty thing that works for you, kind of thing.
And don't get me wrong, like I have fun. Like making music is fun. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be doing it, right? But
absolutely,
it's just a level of getting things done and finishing things. You know.
You're gonna have to link up email me that book. I want to check
Yeah. I got a lot of books I'm gonna be talking about in this interview.
Yeah. I'll have to get the listing of that after.
Got you.
You're saying like, oh, okay, so you in the past have worked with amazing artists like Ghostface Killer from Wu-Tang, Beanie Siegel, Styles P, Seek Luke, Killer Priest, just to name a few of them. Like, what was it like working with these artists, and did they have any like tricks or techniques or any routines that they did for like getting into the music that they may have influenced you or something like that, like or not, like, you know?
Well, I only had sessions with Ghostface, Sheik Luch, Styles P, and Freeway. Those are the only people that I was physically in the studio with. Beanie Siegel and a couple of those other guys. Killer Priest too, I was in the studio with. But some of those guys that were just verses we were sending, you know, through the internet. But all of those guys, they all had a different process, and like I learned something almost from all of them. But it's also like you gotta remember, like the people that I named are like 20-year vets, 25-year vets. So it's like a lot of the times it just came like breathing to them. Like I remember, like, to tell you a story. So I had Sheik Luch and Styles P that I was recording with that day, and I was driving them from the hotel to my studio in Scarborough, and they were like, "Yo, play the beat." So I played the beat, and they were just in the backseat. I was driving; they were in the backseat. They're like, you know, mumbling to themselves on their phone or whatever. So we get to the studio now, and like they had a show in like an hour and a half. So I had to get them back to the docks down. Yeah, it was at the docks. Well, Sound Academy, Folsom Pier, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I had to get them back downtown quickly. So they were like, "Yo, we got no to play around." So I remember walking in the studio, and like they voted, so they were familiar with the studio. And Styles P said, "Yo, I'm gonna go into the booth." So he went in. I forgot something in my car. I think I forgot my phone in my car. In my car, came back maybe like, a word of a lie, 2 minutes at most. I came back, Styles P was sitting on the couch. I said, "Oh, you're not gonna record anymore?" He's like, "I'm done." I'm like, "What?" I looked at the engineer. He's like, he did it in one take. I'm like, "How's it sound?" He's like, "Amazing." So like, the take he did on my album there, that was one take. He got it done. It was like
in and out.
and I was so amazed. I'm like, yo, like he's so professional, but it's muscle memory, right? Like he's been doing this since I was a little boy, right? So I was like 7 years old, and you know I'm a big 30-something-year-old man, and he's still doing this. So it like inspired me, like, yo, if you just stick to it, you get better and better and better every day. So yeah, I learned that from him, man. And it was like, and I, like I said, I learned something from everybody. Like Ghostface, I remember we were in the studio, and I remember he would do a verse, and like there was a couple people in the studio that day. Capadonna was there. I think it was Priest there that night. A couple people were there. Lord Fury. A couple of these guys were there. We're at DJ Mercer's studio, and I remember like Ghostface kept doing his verse, and everybody's like, "Yeah, Ghost sounds good." He's like, "No, it doesn't sound perfect," and he just kept doing it and doing it again. And I was like, "Yo, to my ears, like this is, you know, this is perfect," but it was
yeah.
You know what I mean? He caught what we couldn't hear, and I guess like that's the difference between mastery and, you know, chasing mastery.
The nuances of it, and like how you said something, or the vibe that you know, whatever. Yeah.
And it wasn't like he wasn't messing up. Like he was doing it, and then he'd be like, "Run again," and he was doing it, and he's like, "Yo, which take you like better, first one or the seventh one?" I'm like, "Yo, it all sounds the same to me."
Yeah.
But at that time, I wasn't at the level to really understand why he was doing that or what he was doing. But like the verse the verse he laid, that's not on my album. That's another track we did. That's out. It's called "The Get Down." It was that joint. But yeah, man, like I learned. I was around a lot of those veterans, and I learned a lot of those things in the time I spent with them. So it was dope.
Yeah, a couple words that come to mind from me is like perseverance and presence, and like the like that, like wanting to
mental
like,
toughness too is another one.
Yeah, like eventually, like practice. You know what I mean? Like the practice and the perseverance, and the, you know what I mean? Like if you eventually it just becomes like second nature. You know what I mean?
Like breathing, like a duck in water, man. Like that's how rapping is to those guys. You know what I mean? So you're right, though.
That's cool. Yeah, man. That's super cool. Yeah. So when I googled your name, Kid Cold Toronto, and like right off the bat, I saw your Bandcamp. I saw the Hip Hop Canada out, the interview, the Toronto Life interview, like your Instagram, your Spotify, all that comes up, and I thought that was super cool. That the presence is there, man. And I'm glad that people are able to find you. You know, as they should. You know,
we got a lot more coming up, man. So we'll get into that later, though.
That's sick. Amazing. I'm where is it? Is there anything else that you want to speak on? I've asked my questions.
Yeah, man, like it's like, you know, man, it's just everything, like a lot of it is just drawing inspiration. It's like where to draw your inspiration from. You know what I mean? And it's like everybody has their own process, everybody draws it from anywhere. Like I could listen to like a new rapper, like let's say I listen to like something like what's some new stuff I listen to, like West Side Gun and Conway Griselda. Like I'll listen to that and might be like, ooh, I gotta go write something. You know what I mean?
It inspires you, yeah.
It inspires me. Or I could listen to like some old Prince or something. I'll be like, oh, Prince was nasty on this one. Let me go write. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I like, and like as I told you, like I read a lot. Like as I'm talking right now, I just finished reading Rakim. You know what I mean? His book. And,
cool.
Like he's one of my favorites of all time. So I find a lot of inspiration on his, you know what I mean, story. And like for this book, it's called his Revelations on Creativity. You know what I mean? So he talks a lot about how he gets inspired to do his thing. You know, and I read it, and I'm like, yo, we're kind of similar in the sense of like he likes to be alone. I'm like, yo, me too. I like to be myself. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
things are similar, but yeah, man, it's just
It's
I
cool.
just feel
Yeah.
it's just doing it when the creativity is in you because in you for a reason, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's like, harnessing that moment whenever your mind is like, yeah, I'm ready to create, or even just to like let some things out, and I think
Yeah,
that's a good kind of lesson to take, is that just like let the creativity just like flow out before it, like as you said in the like the book, right? Like before it
but
flows out, you know?
yeah, it's almost like lightning, and you try and just catch it in a bottle. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
we know that the lightning's about to strike. All right, so let's get everything ready to capture it. So
yeah,
yeah, man,
that
it's
that's
a lot of people think that it's a lot of like um mystery or it's magic for sure, but like
mhm.
it's really about getting started or just buckling down and
And just
pen to paper.
getting it out there, just like, yeah,
But
letting it out
look at
kind of
you,
thing.
like you got the inspiration to do this podcast, but you still have to hook up your mic, you still have to put on your headphones, you still have to come up with your questions and do your research, right? So
Hmm.
it's the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's the process, right? Yeah, that's super cool. That like you mentioned reading. Do you find reading is like a good thing that really gets you focused?
Well, yeah, and I read a lot of things, but like I think my favorite things to read is autobiographies. I like autobiographies more than biographies because autobiographies is like the person tells you in their own words what happened. So
Hmm.
I like to read a lot about like great people and why they're great. What are the steps they did to become great? And a lot of the times it's like these people sacrifice so much and you have no idea. And it was like, oh man, like I never knew you did this, or I never knew you went to jail, or I never knew you were homeless. So that I'm not saying everybody has to go through that, but it's like,
But
we just hear these
everyone,
content.
yeah, everyone has their trials and tribulations and ups and downs
Right.
and all kind of stuff that's going on, and I imagine that yeah, like hearing those stories becomes an inspiration for sure.
And so it like makes you reaffirm to like, okay, I'm on the right path. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is like I read the James book the other day, and like some of the parts, some of the things he felt. I'm like, 'cause he used to work with what's my boy's name? Uh, Crosby, or is it Steele and Nash? One of Crosby, Steele and Nash. One of them. I can't
One of
remember
the
which one.
okay, yeah.
One of them. He used to work with one, and he's the one who actually got him into the group. And then
Oh,
he's like, yo, I'm at a point in my life where I'm doing music all for like 10 years, and all my buddies are now blowing up and becoming like multi-millionaire artists, and I'm sitting there like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, I felt that way too before. I'm like, oh, like, what was going on? I'm like, okay, if Ray James felt this way, then not to say I'm gonna go on the Ray James path or anything like that, but like maybe it's like a natural thing
it's
to feel.
it's still nice to hear someone who's gotten to that platform and been become that famous
Mm.
say that they've gone through this process, because like I know I felt the same way. Like you see these people succeeding, and don't get me wrong, I love seeing that because I love seeing people succeed, but it's like I'm also like, wait a minute, like what am I doing? Like how I would like I in my head, I remember when I was a kid, I thought, I'm gonna have all these huge dreams and stuff like that. And as you grow into this adulthood, you're like, all right, well, now I'm dealing with this and that, and like,
Real
and
life.
yeah, life, and you realize that, like, when you come across this stuff, that you're not the only one that's dealing with life, that like it's the thing that everyone's got to deal with. No one just kind of like, very few people are able to just kind of like make it into this
Yeah.
amazing place or whatever, but like eventually we're all going to get to some amazing place,
For
and
sure.
that, like, if we keep working on it and we keep persevering and that kind of stuff, that we're gonna get to that place eventually. You know what I mean? Like it's and I think everyone's path is different and everyone works at different speeds, and I think you're totally right, man. I think it's yeah.
And just to touch on that, like it's not like a place out of malice where I'm like, okay, a guy that was me and him were on the same like level, and like 6 months later, like I've been in positions where it's like me and somebody in a session, okay, I meet them, like cool. 6 months later, they got a platinum record, or 6 months later, they got a Grammy. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, we were in the same spot 6 months ago, but it's not out of malice. I'm not hating. I'm happy for these people and I celebrate them. But it's but yeah, you're like, what did they do that I didn't do? But it just wasn't the time. My time hasn't come yet, and like I'm at peace with that. You know what I mean? And like when I was back to Rick James, and when I read that, I'm like, okay, you're one of the most celebrated funk artists of all time, and you felt that. You know what I mean? It's okay for me to feel that way.
For sure.
And
man.
like it's one of the things that I got picked up. I read the Rick James book like last month, so that's the reason I'm talking about it.
It's fresh in the mind, yeah.
Fresh, man. I got loads of books, so man, I'm a real, nerd when it comes to the books.
Dude, that's perfect, man. There's like, there's no better way to kind of escape in a way that's not like escaping. You know what I mean? You're actually like moving your mindful thought to this story or this yeah.
I got a book. Actually, I lost it. I lost it on the airport. But you would like it. It's called The Mindfulness Edge.
Mindfulness Edge?
Yeah, The Mindfulness Edge by Dr. Tim Gard and I think Matt Tenney. You know what I mean? It discusses a lot of these things going on here and we're talking about. Yeah. And different states of mind that people are in when they're making decisions and how to go about to make the right decision based on, your path or what you really want to get to. So I think you would like that book. You should look it up. I'll send you a list of it.
I will. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check that out, man. Seems like I have some reading to do.
Yeah, I mean, like we're still. I think, are we still in quarantine? I think we are.
I think we're in the tail end of it right now. But I think it's who knows what's gonna happen. I know my industry is not doing anything this year, and I know live events and music is kind of not doing anything. So I think we're all trying to figure out how, when and how that's gonna come about, and so yeah, it's
crazy
been
times living in, man.
It is wild and unpredictable times for sure. Yeah, but I'm glad that there's like things like reading and things like like just letting out that creative process, whether it's writing poetry or writing stories, or what I mean, that just like letting that out is, I think it's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah, we all got it in us, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
Like for you,
it's harnessing it, right? Like
that's it, man.
I appreciate this so much. I'm gonna hit this outro music, and yeah, we're gonna do this up.
Let's do it.
Thank you for tuning in to Mindful Minutes with Musicians. For more information about my guest and the topics of the show, go to www.davidblackmoremusic.wordpress.com and connect with us on all social media platforms. Welcome to the MMWM family, where we aspire to inspire. See you soon. Huge thank you again for joining me and chatting about all this, and just all this. It's so much appreciated, and thank you.
No problem, man. When do you think you're gonna have the episode out, or are you just like putting it
Friday?
Oh,
yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah, I told a couple people about it. They're excited. So, you know what I mean? I'm going to push it when it comes out.
Sick. I love it. I love it. All right.
We just young, wild and reckless. We just young, wild and reckless. Young nigga, but we grew up real fast. Pedal to the floor, hit the clutch and then we gas. We just young, wild and reckless.
This sounds like a movie from Spike Lee. Brooklyn or Air Max is matching your white tee. A nice free shorty 5'3" and feisty. It's likely to approach the girlie politely. When I attend the cookouts, never bother to look out. Cause it's all love every time we bring the hood out. Seen an old friend, we laughed as we reminisce. Play fighting in the hall, my hand slipped and caught your lip. Bumped Usher burn every time that you got it bad. My bridge and clips hit the gun in the McDonald's bag. That was the boy that I was to make the man that I am. Now I'm performing for fans, foreign lands for fam. Wu-Tang Clan, that's my all-time favorite. Ghostface spoke to me on Pretty Tony, I'm a sadist. Jig baby, you the greatest. I'ma pawn my gold, and with the cash, I'ma bring you to Vegas.
We just young, wild and reckless. We just